All the gophers are there.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon, everybody. So we will commence the meeting. My name's Clayton Hyam. I'm the presiding member for today's meeting. With me I have Ben Poltaz, the deputy presiding member, and Heidi Herget, the specialist member, and of course councillors Smith and Huntley from the city of Wanneroo. I declare the meeting open at 1:01 and in doing so acknowledge the traditional owners and elders past and present of the land upon which we're meeting today. Members may refer to technical devices, so just to let you know that we are using those in relation to the meeting. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed. There are no apologies and there are no members listed as being on leave of absence. Minutes from previous meetings are available on the MODAP website. Declarations of due consideration. Are all members familiar with the material before we go? Confirm, please. Thank you. Councillors? Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of interest? Thank you. And just to note that an R13 direction for further information was received in relation to item 3.2, which we'll get to later on. To item 3.1, the proposed independent living complex. We have presenter in Mr. Andrew Wallace. Mr. Wallace, if you would like to, you've got 3 minutes to present.
Thank you very much. I don't intend to take the full 3 minutes, really just here to support the conversation or any questions that you might have. Obviously, we just wanted to thank the assessing officers and the engagement that we've had with the City of Wanneroo, and we do support the recommendation for the approval to proceed. Thank you, guys, for helping us to get to that position. We issued some information in advance of the meeting, which we hope you received, which was really just around trying to simplify some of the conditions and thinking through the implementation of the approval and compliance in the future. And we felt that there's a couple of items that could be simplified or updated. We met with the city and the officers of our teams on Friday of last week, and we believe that this is a jointly formed position whereby the city is in support of the changes as well. So I'm not sure, I'm happy to take you through the changes if required, but given that you have read it, I'm happy to also just...
All right, I'll see if there's any questions then. Yeah. Are there any questions? No.
Yeah, hi. I had one question about the visitor parking. I read the traffic report. They talked about the provision of 12 bays for the clubhouse footprint on the site, which is fine. How are the residential visitors going to be accommodated?
Yeah, so the design of the streetscape is quite particular, and you've probably seen that through some of the material, but all of the homes have got a separation from the road edge to the garage of a minimum 5.5. So that if there's different home configurations as well. So there's either a single garage which allows a secondary car or a visitor parking from the driveway, or in the double car scenario, obviously you can get 2 visitor bays. So it's embedded in the design.
So the visitor parking will largely be contained on the footprint of the individual units.
Yeah, right, because you go to visit somebody in their dwelling, obviously, and you can
park on the driveway.
And then there's supplementary visitor car noted around.
So there's no capacity to park on those internal private roads.
They're not designed for that at all. They're really just designed to be shared footpaths and slow speed vehicle movements, and then you get the cars away, so that really enhances that.
Further questions? No. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew. That's good. We'll move on to, yes, thanks. Move on to the officers. Gents there are very small, but did you want to make any presentation or just happy to take questions? So Greg, is it there?
Yeah, just to note that we've had those discussions with the department beforehand on the conditions, and we were happy with the modifications that are performed at the party.
That's in regard to, sorry, Chairman, just that's in regard to the proposed rewording of conditions. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Huntley.
Yeah, I'm afraid that came out very, very muffled. Either the guys are far away from that microphone because we couldn't hear any of that.
Okay, try again, Greg.
Thank you.
Just to say that we are happy with the modifications to the conditions which have been discussed with the proponent prior to today's meeting.
Thank you. Did you get that, Councillor Huntley?
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, thank you.
Are there any questions of the officers? No? No? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to the item then. Looking at the recommendation for approval with conditions. What I'll do is seek a mover and a seconder for the published recommendation, and then we'll move any amendments after that. So is there a mover and seconder for as published? Cortez. Thank you. Second, Mr. Turgott. Okay, over to you, Jen.
Yes, the proposal is for an independent living centre. It's appropriately zoned urban development under the City Wanneroo Scheme 2 and residential under the agreed structure plan for East Wanneroo Cell 2. It's been subject to comprehensive assessment in regard to bushfire issues. The DFIS are in support of it, subject to the preparation of a bushfire emergency evacuation plan, and that's conditioned. The proposal has also been generally supported by the design review panel, and a number of design modifications were made following or during the design review process. There were some concerns in regard to amenity and legibility, and these have been addressed through redesign. Some of the issues were access, design of the clubhouse, and these have been appropriately addressed. The city is supportive of the built form and supports variations to building setbacks to the internal roads, and I don't see anything untoward in that. Landscaping to the complex requires some further plans to demonstrate retention of existing vegetation and proposed plantings, and this will be addressed as a further condition. Other issues such as waste collection, earthworks and drainage are similarly conditioned and subject to further assessment. As the development's compliant with relevant legislation and District Planning Scheme number 2 and local policies, and a number of conditions have been imposed in regard to compliance, I support the proposal.
Oh, a seconder.
And seconded.
Want to say?
I guess my comments are just going to relate to access, roadworks, waste management and parking. I'm satisfied that those issues have been satisfactorily assessed by the city, and that the applicant has addressed them in the context of their submissions and in the context of the question that I just proffered earlier. So I second the recommendation.
Thank you. Further speakers, and I'm seeking Councillor Huntley.
Thank you. Yes, I support this. It is very, very needed in this area. Obviously, with East Wanneroo now kicking off, and people are going to have to move out of the rural properties. A lot of those will downsize, and this is an ideal advantage to be still within the same area or close. So I'm very happy. I do think if there is, I know there's only 12 spaces around that clubhouse, but I think 12 spaces would fill up very quickly. So if there's any leeway on that in the future, I think they should really have a look at how many car parking bays they're really going to need. But that's about it, and I support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, did you want to speak? No. All right, I'm going to deal with the modifications to the conditions, and I want to move. I guess I'm going to do it in the whole on block if we can. The applicants requested changes to the conditions, so that's to conditions 3, 4, with condition 11 being deleted. Condition 14 be deleted. Rewording for condition 19 and rewording to the advice note. If I can change one of those, well, where it says approval by the council, it would be approval by the city and lodged with the city and not lodged with the council, the city being the legal entity.
You're moving that?
I've moved, oh, yes, that's right, an advice note too. That's correct. All right, I'm moving those. Is there a seconder? Mr. Coltaz has seconded that. Is there any discussion on those amendments? All right, I'll put the amendments all in favour. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. I don't think I've got any further to say apart from supporting the proposal and that Mr. Coltaz to close debate.
Yeah, I think I'll just reiterate Councillor Huntley's comment that it's a use that's very much needed in that locality, and I continue to support it.
Thank you. I'll now put the motion as a substantive motion. All those in favour? It's amended? Yes. Okay, it's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 3.2. We have a presenter and Mr. Crayon from Urbis. Yeah.
Okay, well, good afternoon, DAP panel members. My name is Declan Creighton and I'm a town planner from Urbis. Urbis is representing the landowners Starland Proprietary Limited, who are the long-term landowners of the Kingsway Shopping Centre, and they're the proponents for the item at 3.2 on the agenda. So Starland has an exciting and aspirational plan for the growth and revitalisation of this centre. And this proposal, together with the retail and hospitality upgrades over recent years, will set the foundation for a more diverse and vibrant activity centre. I'll primarily discuss our support for the office's recommendation today and speak to the fundamentals of the proposal. And I'm also joined by Loft Property, who are the development managers for the project, and DKO Architecture as well, if there's any specific technical questions. So starting with a bit of a development overview, this proposal represents an exciting opportunity to deliver a high quality short stay accommodation within an existing centre. The proposal is for 135 apartments and a variety of hospitality tenancies, and the development will transform an area that is currently a car park into an activated mixed-use extension to the current retail. This proposal is an important piece of the puzzle, the growth and revitalisation of the centre, and it will contribute to the structure plan aspiration, which is around transforming the centre from a primarily suburban shopping centre into a fully integrated and mixed-use activity centre. As is identified within the RAR, the site is located in a district centre, and a building of this scale and the proposed land uses are entirely appropriate within a district centre. There's appropriate access to amenity, regional open space and transport links to make this site suitable for redevelopment and short stay uses. And the proposed height, bulk, scale and any potential amenity impacts from these are mitigated by the significant boundary setback, as well as the architectural treatment of the building. The proposal is consistent with the city's scheme requirements and the requirements of State Plan Policy 4.2. The design of the building was considered and generally supported by the city's design review panel, and we've worked closely with the city officers to flesh out operational queries and matters. The design also boasts a number of really positive sustainability measures, things like EV charging bays, solar panels, and a battery on the site will contribute to the powering of the overall centre. And overall, the proposal is consistent with the underlying planning framework. It was supported by the DRP, and we feel is entirely worthy of that support today. Panel members would have received our request for minor changes to some conditions, namely condition 4, 14, and 19. These are primarily to remove ambiguity and provide clarity for the design and operational stages, and we're happy to discuss these further if there's any further queries. We also note a few queries regarding parking and the linen collection. The traffic reporting demonstrates that there'll be adequate staff car parking within the centre. And in relation to the linen, it's likely that a bay at the rear of the car park will be dedicated to loading to ensure that linen delivery can occur seamlessly. So to summarise and conclude, the proposed development is entirely appropriate within its district centre context. Amenity, functionality have been considered, and the proposal offers a really positive outcome for the site. And finally, we reiterate this development factors into the bigger picture vision and the evolution of the centre. Happy to take any queries and at the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krieger. Questions? Yes, Heidi.
Okay, I'll direct this to you in the first instance to the applicant. In relation to the car parking, there's a couple of issues. The one that was raised relates to access to the linen loading area, which is at basically at the corner of two sets of right angle pods. And the response was that it won't be accessible if there is someone parked in the Acrod Bay or in the bay to the north and then to the west if there's someone parked in the conventional bay. And the that's one issue. So I have a concern about that. So I think is it an option to actually allocate that bay to the left of the linen loading area, service bay? So that's freed up. So there will always be access for a vehicle there, because what I can see happening is that the bays fill up. And what will happen is if a linen truck or van or whatever, they end up parking line haul in that one aisle, obstructing the access to the EV charging bays. And it's not really very safe. So so that's one question. So that would take one bay away from the overall supply that's proposed. The other issue is the Acrod Bay is not, as far as I can see, well, one of the conditions relates to the fact that the parking has to be delivered compliant with the relevant Australian standards. There's no shared bay. There's an Acrod footprint, and usually that needs to be coupled with a bay of the same size with the bollard in the middle. So I guess my suggestion potentially would be to reallocate one of the EV charging bay next to it, so that you actually have a pod for the Acrod Bay, leaving the linen bay. I think there's potentially too much conflict potential there for someone to alight from a vehicle or get into a vehicle.
Questions.
Yeah, sorry. Is there a potential to allocate, straight up, to reallocate one of the EV bays to make that a fully compliant Acrod Bay? So that would bring the parking supply down by 2.
Yep, so Daniel from Loft Property. I'll answer the first question in relation to the linen loading. So in our response, I think what we've suggested is that one of the bay that you pointed out adjacent would become a linen loading bay. So that would mean one less bay overall for that car park. In relation to the Acrod, I might hand that over to Dennis from DKO just to talk about the space that's required next to that.
Yeah, I suppose the confusion around that corner space is that's probably not a dedicated space, effectively opening for the DDA compliant car parking. So we're happy to accommodate that sort of marking along that line to actually allow for a single sided space right next to the DDA parking.
So that would mean no loss of EV charging bays.
So a loss of one EV charging bay.
No loss, sorry.
I think the essence is it will need to comply with the standards.
It needs to comply
Anyway.
with standards.
Yeah. Okay, further questions? I think Councillor Smith, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Mine was about condition 14, talking about the eastern pathway, and hearing from them a little bit more because they've mentioned that they don't really support that because it would require widening or relocating some of the parking bays. I do actually support the city's recommendation that we do try to get that to 2 meters, considering there is no entry from the back way or from the car park that they have to walk around. And, you know, as temporary stays, they'll probably have luggage bags and things like that. So can they talk to what further implications there would be to the car park to, I guess, justify not expanding it? Thanks.
Yeah, I'll take that question. I suppose, just taking one step back. So for the northern pathway, that's acknowledged, and we're happy to amend that to 2 meters. The eastern pathway, I suppose that is more viewed as a privately used condition for the short stay and also from a loading perspective. We're happy to sort of look into the pathways and sort of clarify in terms of how we actually maneuver from the car park into the short stay. But at this point, we would like to say that 1,300 at its narrowest point, and there are portions where it's 2 meters wide and it's sufficient for this use.
Okay. Further questions? Mr. Coltas.
Yeah, I just, I mean, your only option really is to push the whole building forward to get that extra 700 in. Then you'd end up with more than 2 meters. You'd end up with 2 point something or other in the areas. You have a number of doors that are opening out into that area, which also would, I think, it looks like bin storage, I suppose that is in the background there. There's some doors behind.
Yeah, that's the servicing for the short stay. That's right.
Sorry, what's that?
The servicing for the short stay and the fire egress as well.
Yeah.
So within those areas that there are 2 meters worth of footpath, allowing for door openings and whatnot. So,
well, yes, okay. So you've got some areas that are compliant and others aren't. But I suppose, yeah, your only option is to lose another, to push the parking area back, which means you lose another couple of bays.
You lose a whole row.
oh, sorry, you probably lose 2.
Oh, well, we shall see what transpires in the debate. Further questions?
Just to note that you've got 2 back rod bays and you'll need to address both of those in terms of the space next to it. Yeah.
Okay. Further questions? Okay, thank you. Oh, yes.
Yeah, just the 2 Acrod bays that Deputy Presiding Member referred to are on the left. Those don't have the compliant shared spaces next to them either, do they? They're relying on the corner hashed off area as the shared space?
That's right.
Okay.
No questions?
No.
No, okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move to the officers. Greg, did you want to make any comments, particularly in relation to the requested changes?
Thank you. Yeah, I feel that there's opportunity there for the applicant to adjust the short stay parking area to accommodate the wider footpath. We'd like to see that 2 meters. Cars will back in and overhang, which will be unloading luggage into that walkway, that easy walkway. There'll be people have tow bars and the like on the back of vehicles. So there's, even with wheel stops placed in the standard position, you'll still get overhang of the footpath in the vehicles and you've got doors opening. So we really think that needs to be in a generous space to enable guests to wheel baggage and bring baggage around as a group, usually around the building. So I think for us, it's just a sort of a clear design option that needs to be incorporated and addressed. And that should be able to be accommodated within the scale of the for car parking bay area without too much problem.
Okay. Can you comment in relation to the other requested changes to the conditions? That's condition 4 and 19.
Yeah, no, we don't have any objection to those changes. We're happy with the reference to the Australian standards for the lighting in relation to that. That's reasonable request. And condition 19. Look, the standard condition for the city is 7 days. That gives us the opportunity to raise it quickly with because we often, if the graffiti is objectionable or offensive in any way, then we like to be able to raise that quickly so that the owners can address it and deal with it, and in the fastest time possible. That's the reason for having a 7-day turnaround on that.
Just do it.
The sound was very muffled as well.
Yes.
Sorry, we're having a problem with the microphone here. Yeah, we do prefer to have the 7-day time limit on that because it enables us to quickly and deal with that if it's offensive or objectionable graffiti that's seen or applied to the building. But really the compliance process if the owners aren't going to address it quickly is a much longer process than 7 days anyway. So I feel like that just using our standard condition gives us the best response to an issue that's prevalent in the community.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Questions of the officers? Yes, councillor.
Yeah, just one question through the chair regarding graffiti. I know that really and truthfully 7 days, this actually states to be removed within 7 days, and I know that really we're about 15 to 20 days before they actually get this stuff removed. It's not easy, and you know by the time it's reported and the paperwork's been done and everything, 7 days is really a narrow window, and I would like to know if we can actually meet that 7 days.
Removal, it's the owner's responsibility to remove. And what we're saying is within 7 days of notification that they remove the graffiti. The reality is that that's just an opportunity for us to get a letter out quickly and ask them to address it as soon as possible.
Okay. Further questions?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman. Greg, the condition says must be removed within 7 days of it being applied. It may not be reported for several days, so they effectively have no time to remove it. So my personal view is that a longer period or that, I think if you can recall on previous applications, we have either deleted the condition or in the city of Wanneroo or modified it to 30 days or something like that. Is that correct?
That's up to the JDAP if you want to modify the conditions to recommend.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
All right. Any further questions? No, thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to the item. There's a recommendation for approval with conditions. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Huntley, yes. And a seconder? Mr. Cortez, thank you. Councillor Huntley.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, I'm happy to approve this with conditions. I do think the wording for 19 is not appropriate because it does actually say to be removed in 7 days, and any graffiti applied to the external surface of the building. So and it is to the satisfaction of the city. So I do think that really it's an unrealistic ask. Whether we change that wording, we might have to do something with the city. We'll see if we can sort that out with Greg later. But I do think this has been an issue really on several JDAPs before, so I'm happy to amend that. Other than that, everything seems fine. I know there's the Acrod parking is a bit of an issue, but I think the city will probably sort that out on the at the next stage of this. So I'm happy. Thank you.
Councillor Huntley, are you suggesting a change to the number of days for condition 19?
Yes, I am actually. I think that should be at least 15 days.
Or 30 days as Mr. Bolt has.
Yeah, 30 days is probably more realistic if we can move it to 30 days.
Well, I'll just see if the seconder agrees with that, and then that becomes the substantive motion. So
yeah, I'm happy to move that if it does.
Mr. Coltaz agrees with that, so there's no need to do it as an amendment. That becomes the substantive motion now. Okay, so you've still got the floor. If you want to keep speaking?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I'm happy that goes to 30 days, and yeah, I'm just happy with the whole proposal. The only thing is on a personal level, which I know you can't really say, but it is very much like when you look at the diagram, it is very much like an office building. It's a bit of a shame because it would be nice to have had a really nice frontage on that, especially with Kingsway right in the background, but there we go.
That's fine. That's design can be quite personal. So further, Mr. Coltaz, as seconder.
Yes, look, I think the proposal is an interesting one for a suburban shopping centre, or district centre as it is. However, it fits the planning framework under the scheme. Commercial uses are permitted. Residential in the form of medium-rise apartments are discretionary uses, and we do have the ability to approve it. The use, in my view, is appropriate in terms of the Kingsway City Shopping Centre. It's a mixed-use precinct. It contains shops, fast food outlets, service stations, childcare centre, and a range of other commercial uses. Whilst a number of the submissions didn't support short stay accommodation, a range of other policies encourage the uses proposed, and I think that given the number of district centres and regional centres that are incorporating residential into their environments, in their precincts, I think this is an appropriate use. It's compatible with the existing centre. I think the issue of height has been addressed in the presentation and the review. The building is well back from Wanneroo Road and surrounding residential development. There's no detrimental impact on the locality in that regard. The height doesn't impact adjoining uses in terms of overshadowing, overlooking, etc. It's got a low bell in terms of the fire issues, so I think that that's all well covered. Landscaping, there's been some reduction in landscaping, but also reinstatement, and I think that at this stage proposed to put in some more trees in the existing parking area, I think, as a condition. The traffic impact is not an issue, a great issue anyway. The Main Roads and Department of Planning have supported the transport traffic impact study, and pedestrian access is to be improved via the condition. Parking's been reconfigured on the site, and while there's an overall shortfall, the traffic impact analysis has in fact addressed that. Other matters such as noise levels to the apartment, waste management are subject to further conditions. Overall, the proposed development is considered appropriate from a planning point of view and considered to be appropriate as a regional tourism facility. So I'm supportive of it.
Thank you. Further speakers? Yes, Heidi.
Certainly concur with Deputy Presiding Member. In relation to the traffic and parking assessment, I think from a parking perspective, the applicant has more than adequately and appropriately demonstrated that the shortfall is reasonable in the context of uses on the site that are coincident with the peak times and the best use of the infrastructure on the site. In terms of the traffic issues, that's going to be dealt with in the main, really, with between the council and Main Roads and the applicant. So that I find satisfactory. I would like to point out that I'd like to present a motion to an amendment to the conditions to include 2 conditions, a loading, servicing and delivery management plan to be prepared by the applicant or its relevant consultants submitted to the city at some point prior to building permit occupancy, and a car parking management plan as well, because you've got a bunch of competing uses on the site. I'm not overly concerned about what's which part of the parking the staff use or customers or visitors, etc. But there are a number of different uses on the site that are not necessarily retail anymore. So that would be useful in the context of the previous discussion on the Acrod bays, the EV charging bays, the service bay. So both of those reports to be prepared and submitted to the city at some point in the process.
Sorry, Heidi, can you just repeat? The first one was?
Is a loading, servicing and delivery management plan to be submitted by the applicant to the city.
Okay, to the, yeah, okay.
Okay, and a car parking management plan,
Right.
2 separate deliverables.
I'll seek a seconder before you speak any
Yeah, no
further.
problem.
Is there a seconder for those 2 amending motion, which probably should deal with one at a time? I think that's the correct way. So let's deal with the loading, servicing and delivery plan to be submitted prior to the building license to the satisfaction of the city.
Or occupancy either way.
Yes, Councillor Smith.
I'm happy to second that.
Okay, thank you. All right. So let's just deal with that one to start with. Heidi, did you want to say any more on that particular one? Councillor Smith, you happy to? Okay. Are there any other speakers on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just in regard to the type of report you're proposing, was it a loading, delivery and loading management?
Loading, servicing and
delivery
delivery
management plan.
management plan.
What does, yes. I'm just wondering whether there's enough already in what's been provided that covers that, or at the moment.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Go on, carry on.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether what form that would take, so I'm just trying to get around. Is it just for this, not the whole centre? You're obviously looking.
Oh, no.
Just this
For the proposal.
for this proposal. Well, if they haven't sorted it out now, then it would be a good thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And if they have sorted it out, it won't be too onerous, so I'll support that.
Okay, thank you. Further speakers on that amendment? No. Okay, I shall put the amendment. All those in favour? That's carried.
Councillor Huntley's frozen.
Oh, she is too.
Is she?
Councillor Huntley, come on.
Councillor Huntley, can you hear us? All right, well,
Wanneroo's not good reception today.
how's the office going? Are they moving? Okay. Well, it's carried.
Well,
Whether it's unanimous or not is another matter.
Let's just see if someone can call her.
Regulations tell us we have to, can't just move on with that, can we?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, no, she's just fallen off. She's on.
She might be rebooting. So
We've just lost councillor Huntley for a moment there, technically I'm speaking.
While we're waiting for her, can I just confirm the wording of that? So it was
Yes, okay.
loading, servicing and delivery management plan
Management plan,
to the satisfaction of the city of Wanneroo. Was there a time frame on that?
yes, prior to
building permit.
issue of building permit.
It's got Lena giving her a call.
Okay.
We still have a quorum.
Yes, so
In the
She's
absence,
logging in now.
is she? Okay,
30 seconds.
well, if it happens again, I suppose we can always say, look,
We'll just make a note that she's gone.
yeah. Elvis left the building. As long as I've got a quorum, it's okay.
Just so close to the end, that's all.
yeah, that's right. We jumped at the last hurdle.
Just as well. I think.
It's coming.
Or 19 down there. And then
I'll do, we don't need to do 4K.
Sorry about that, guys. Total internet failure.
Okay. Councillor Huntley, we were about to
Vote.
vote on the amendment to for the applicant to provide a loading, servicing and delivery management plan prior to the issue of building licence to the satisfaction of the city. I'm going to now ask for a vote on that. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. And we'll move on then to the second of Heidi's amending motions. The car parking management plan, I guess, to be provided prior to the issue of a building licence and to the satisfaction of the city. Heidi has moved that. Is there a seconder for that one? Yes, Councillor Huntley, thank you. All right, do you want to speak to that one?
In the intent.
Just for the
Okay,
car parking management plan.
The car parking management plan, I think I'm suggesting one that relates only to the application we have in front of us, okay, not the overall center. And it needs to deal with things like allocation for different competing uses, because it's quite a small footprint where that new car parking area is. So Service Bay, Acrod, the short stay, if it's gonna be anything allocated to the short stay apartments, food and beverage. And that should be accompanied by wayfinding and signage. So to minimize conflict and risk across the site, because you do have the existing algae loading area there, your consultant will know what to do with that particular deliverable.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Huntley has seconded. Did you want to make any comment on that?
No, that's fine. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
All right, further speakers for that amending motion? No? Okay, I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. I'm back to who hasn't spoken. Councillor Smith has spoken, I think. Councillor Smith, you've spoken, haven't you, on this, the substantive motion?
Sorry, there is one thing I'd like to speak on that. It's in regard to the graffiti clause. I think other ones that I've been on, it's been amended to maybe 14 days and maybe not 30 days. My concern is, I understand the realistic nature of, you know, how quickly somebody can often address and get it done. I would prefer it to be a little bit sooner, like 14 days, because it just allows the trigger. So the business or whatever may be in the process of organising it, or if they haven't, it's not a big thing to get a letter. It just is a encouragement to move quicker if they're not already addressing it, if that makes sense, as far as my knowledge goes. My concern with leaving graffiti longer, so for example, if we left it at 30 days, they haven't addressed it in the time, then the letter goes out, then it can take another 3 weeks or something to actually get done, because if that's when they're only starting to get onto it, we know that the longer that graffiti is there, the more that others are encouraged, their competing groups or whatever, tagging, things like that, to build up. I've got many in my area that are sitting there for ages, so I prefer a sooner notice to try and get things working much faster to combat that. So that would be my potential amendment to, if we can have it maybe 14 days for that letter.
To do another amendment.
That would have to be a further amendment because it's already been amended and passed, but perhaps before we get there, the condition does require it to be removed within 30 days. So all that processing will have occurred prior to the 30 days.
So at what point would the letter come out? Sorry?
Well, I don't know, but as soon as it's the city or someone's notified of that, there'd be a letter. But the condition requires that it be removed within 30 days. So it may not even need to be a letter. It might be that the operator notices it and gets the, it removed within 10 days, 7 days.
Yeah. So I understand that and I appreciate that. My concern is that if they don't in that 30 days that they have allowed to do, or then a letter goes out and then it might take a little bit of time to get it done. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So do you want to put in a further amending motion to amend the amendment?
Well, was it actually amended or was it just accepted as part of the substantive with the first and second are accepting the addition of the 30 days?
No, that was amended.
Yeah, it was moved
It's moved and
Okay.
seconded.
with the agreement of the mover and seconder, so
Yes.
that's a,
Yes.
becomes the
It becomes a
substantive.
substantive motion. So if you want to,
Did we actually vote on that particular one? Because I don't remember. I
No,
thought it
it's
was just
still-
accepted.
no, it's not voted on separately. It will be voted on at the end. So if you want to move something different, now's your time to do it.
I would like to put it up there for discussion to have it voted on. So I would like it looked at maybe 14 days instead.
Okay, so you are making an amendment to condition 19 to reduce the 30 days to 14 days.
Yes, please.
So that's Councillor Smith. Is there a seconder for that? Okay, Heidi, thank you. All right. Councillor Smith, do you want to make any further comment as the mover of that?
I think I've explained my reasons why earlier. So once again, it's just to reiterate, trying to get that process moving faster in case that the owners haven't already done that. And yeah.
All right. Heidi has seconded. Do you want to make any comment?
No.
No? Are there further speakers?
Councillor Huntley had a
Councillor Huntley, yes.
Yeah, I'm afraid I can't agree with that at all. The actual instruction says that when the graffiti is put on the wall, you will have 14 days to fully remove it. It doesn't state 14 days we'll get a letter out. It states that they must remove it. I know there is no way we can actually achieve that. We don't achieve it now, and I don't think we ever have in the past. Unless somebody sees it and can remove it straight away, by the time somebody reports it, it goes through its management system or it gets reported to the office. And by the time it gets around to someone actually cleaning it off, 30 days is reasonable. So I think to actually allow the people who actually own the building to be able to do their own graffiti removal, which they have to do before the city gets involved, I think the 30 days is very much a reasonable time frame. I think 14 days, if it's stated that the city will write you a letter in 14 days if you haven't seen the graffiti to prompt you, that would be fine, but it doesn't say that. So ultimately, we can't talk about a letter because that's not in there. There is no letter in the actual policy itself or in the conditions. So ultimately, I can't agree with it. It literally leave it at the 30 days for removal. I think that's acceptable.
Any further speakers? No. I support Councillor Huntley's view on this. I think it's a reasonable time frame. And look, if the operator wants the premises to look smart and operate well, they're going to remove it very quickly anyway. So back to Councillor Smith to close the debate on the amendment.
Happy with what I've said. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I'll put the amendment. All in favour? Against? Which way are you? Against? Okay, oh, that's fine. Yep. Yes, so that's lost 1-4. Thank you. Okay. All right. Moving back to then the mover to close debate on the substantial, and that's Councillor Huntley on the substantive motion now. Oh, sorry, I'm going to address condition 4. I beg your pardon. I'm proposing that condition 4 be amended as per the applicant's request, which covered. There it is in their submission, and which would read, the applicant owner must ensure that all illuminated signage must have any boxing or casing in which it is enclosed constructed of combustible materials, must not comprise of flashing, pulsating, chasing or running lights, and must comply with Australian standards AS 3282.2019 to the satisfaction of the city. So that's really just bringing it in line to comply with standards. So I'm going to move that as an amendment. Is there a seconder for that? Yes. Okay. Heidi, are there any speakers on that? No. All right, I'll put that amendment. All in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Now back to Councillor Huntley as the condition 14. No, no one's raised it as an amendment. So
No.
Councillor Huntley, did you want to close debate?
Yeah, look, I'm happy with everything that's gone on. I'm happy with what we're doing. So yeah, I'm happy to move.
All right, thank you. Let's take a vote on that then for the substantive motion. In favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Just to finish off the meeting, there are no 4 and 2, no Reconsiderations. Is there any general business? No, thank you. And I'll close the meeting at 1:55 PM. Thank you for your attendance, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.